Good evening. I'm Kat. This is Buckets. With us is Leon and Luna. Tonight, we are bringing you Evolution of Music.
Boom,
And
boom, boom.
don't forget to subscribe. First question. And here we go.
I just realized I've got a microphone in my hand when you said that. Sorry.
What does industry look like in 200 years?
Oh, there's going to be dinosaurs running around with microphones. No, well, oh, sorry, that's in the past.
You've gone back a million years. Let's go forward 200 years and try that again.
All right. There's going to be robots running around with microphones. My apologies.
Possibly. I mean, if AI technology perfects itself, possibly there will be some sort of robot humanoid thing running around creating music, being the powerhouse and that they need in those type of industries.
We'll call them microphone clones. They'll have legs, arms themselves. They'll be running around. They'll be going up to people and say, "What do you think about this?"
Where do I think the music industry will be 200 years from now? Do I think it's going to be in the exact same place? Oh, that's a funny question, because I feel like it's a possibility that nothing could actually change except the names that are celebrated, the celebrities of it. Rap has managed to stay the same since it's created. Every genre has managed to stay the same. There's not much difference, except maybe there's some more genres now. There's more styles. It's more freer. There's more lyrics in songs. But in terms of the music, nothing's really changed. It's still fun, boppy things that you can kind of, get along to.
I kind of think that the type of musical style, I think this is what's will legit happen, right? And it's happening now, right? Is that more foreign music will be influenced into the mainstream.
Yes.
That will definitely happen.
That will 100%. Yeah, you're right, actually. Maybe the music industry will explode in more countries than just America.
Because look, if you think about it, like 20 years ago, if you heard music from Korea, you'd have to be in Korea to hear it, right? Yeah. Now, Korean music is like basically the number one music. It's number one. It's basically matched Michael Jackson music.
Yeah.
It's so big. And also the types of songs that are being made today, they're being borrowed from instruments where you might only find in India. So the type of music that's being created are coming from more multicultural
on an international level. It's definitely blending together.
Leon, what do you think?
I think in 200 years from now, music is going to become more generic. There's going to be very little thought process into it. I have very little thought into how you're going to sing a song or write a song. It's been pretty much going that way for the last maybe probably since around maybe the 1980s. That's when music has started to change. Instead of deeper, meaningful songs, we very rarely see that these days. It's just more generic and just thrown together with some keyboards. Yeah, you were talking about instruments and stuff like that. You won't need to go to other countries to enjoy like Indian sitar or whatever like that. You got a piano keyboard that can do it just as quickly.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's going to go.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's evolving that way. I mean, the instruments are getting more and more expansive with different sounds, different instruments being added. Music, as you say, it is more generic because it's so much. You know what they do? They just throw a bunch of categories together that they know people talk about or dramatize quite a lot, and that makes a song easy.
Like, here's the next question I want to throw at you guys. How has music evolved, and what will it evolve into in the distant future? Can I start off by saying I think we had at the very beginning the explosion of boy bands. We had the explosion of teen boppers. Let's look at the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Hanson, you name it. Then came the rap, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, G Unit, things of that nature. Then came along Justin Bieber. I think
disappointment that was.
Hey, I like JB, but I can say what it will evolve into is, if you notice Eminem when he did that surprise Oscar thing with the symphony orchestra, a lot of people like myself love classy music, and I think that's where more artists will turn to the classical music, the classical genre, to make their music plausible and people listen to it. And I think how it'll evolve in the future is it will clash with, you know, rap, hip hop, pop, classical, opera. I think all those genres will come together as a whole, and a lot of people who listen to their favorite bands or artists will turn to that artistry and start following them. I think the distant future will evolve very sort of a different sort of melody. We were talking about, different type of we're talking about different type of melodies. It's like cooking. You put a melody into a pot, you mix it with this that's kind of spicy, too spicy, you put that to it and you blend it, and you get this really vibrant, rich color and taste and smell. And it's like that. I think the distant future will be very symphony orchestra. What about you, Leon?
I definitely can see it going that way. It has been going that way since the 90s. I think didn't Metallica at one stage do that symphony and metal thing? That was groundbreaking because I don't think anybody had ever tried anything like that before, and it worked with Metallica. Also, you'll find that Australian band The Angels, obviously when Dave Gleason was a part of it, he's no longer a part of the Angels now, but they did a symphony style series of rock concerts as well, and it works. I think classical music, at least for the next 10 years or something, might have some sort of might play some sort of role in this
Can I say something?
classical music for the next 10.
So there's a few classical songs that I know of that have mixed with rock and roll music. So Bohemian Rhapsody was a classical song which mixed with rock and roll music. And so they used a full operatic orchestra to make it. But the other instruments that they added to it was electric guitars and other things, and then they put it all together, and they all had operatic voices and all sorts of things. But also another song was from Tina Turner, and she actually mixed one of her songs with an opera song an opera um, thing in the back as well, and that became #1. So it's not unusual for artists to use the opera as a means, or a symphony as a means to write songs. So I do think that'll happen in the future.
What about you, Luna?
Gosh, the expansiveness of this question. Let's start at the first part. What was the first part of the question, Kat? Can you read it, just the first part again?
Okay. How has music evolved, and what will it evolve into the future?
Okay, how has music evolved? So let's go back when music first started. I feel like the music back then was based around the culture at the time. There wasn't much individuality or opinion pieces or anything about supportiveness or anything like that. It was more about music about, love and marriage and stuff like that. People would write stuff based around love because that was what was the norm at the time. You'd get married, you have kids. End of story. As time slowly went on and people were allowed to express their individuality more and more, it's evolved into opinion pieces and showing off aspects of their personality and, putting into words who they are. The future, I feel like we've already reached that point where we are so free in our music, we can do whatever we want. Now what it's missing is individuality. And what I mean by that is sharing your life in such a creative way that would be the equivalent to painting the Mona Lisa. There needs to be song, in the future, possibly there'll be songs of historical value that will go on forever as a great historical song. There'll be more things, people expressing their personalities in more depth. I hope that's how it will go. However, I do think in the distant future, I really, truly believe that all music, all film, all media will be controlled by robot technology, AI technology. There will be deep fakes. They won't need another human being ever again. They won't need to pay someone millions of dollars when they've got a robot that does it for free. That's where it's
Exactly.
gonna. That's where it's gonna head. Technology will evolve into that.
I hope we never come to that, because then that's basically Daft Punk, really. That's a reality of Daft Punk, and
Well, it's
that's
funny because the guy that invented AI technology as of lately, he actually stopped producing his technology because he actually said this is going to lead to such bad things. And it's already been proven that people are now using deep fakes to trick people into giving away money. They'll deep fake your granddaughter's face, send a video, be pretending to be the granddaughter to the grandma. The grandma will think it's them because it's got the voice and the face of the granddaughter, but it's obviously a deep fake. It's not a real video of the granddaughter. And they'll send money. It's so advanced now, and people are actually already calling up and saying that this is happening. You have to remember that what evolves in the modern world also evolves in the criminal world.
Anyway, with saying that, I have a slight disagreement as to why music was created in the first place, and I was actually okay. So music has been created for different purposes, right? So there we create music because of expression. We're expressing something. And so a lot of the instruments that we have to do we have for it, like saxophone, like drums, we created these instruments because of wars, because of militaries. The Chinese, I actually read The Art of War a couple of days ago, and they literally have something called the Institution of Drums, and the reason why they needed the Institution of Drums because when they were marching at night, okay, they needed to tell their armies the distance where the other armies were, and they would listen to those drums.
So instruments have been used in a myriad of ways, and sound.
But I think really they were used. Drums were really used as a means to communicate with to other tribes, because when you have other tribes, you have different languages. But you can actually understand. This is where Aboriginal tribes did this all the time.
Music is universal, exactly.
Yeah, you can. They would demonstrate with dance and also instruments about the dangers of certain things that they've discovered, so that they wouldn't hurt themselves. So that was a reason that they that they would do it. So that's where it kind of started as a means of communication, and then we've just kind of brought that communication to mean things that are something that we can relate to on a grandiose scale with the microphone and other things. And or on an individual passionate, compassionate level. So I think that's where it's going to go eventually. We're going to be talking about it ourselves in the future.
Okay, question 3. Will there be any new genres, music styles in the future? Leon.
New genres, huh? Well, we've got new wave. I'd imagine new age would probably be the one there. New age, I suppose. That could be added. I think we do have electro pop, electro rock. That might be one. I know we've got electro pop and electric genres there, but I don't think we've got electro rock. I'm not sure, but I would imagine new age and maybe electro rock or something, or maybe there might just be a crossover genre.
Well, okay, when I was learning trumpet when I was younger, they said you can really cross over any instrument you want, and I said, well, what if we were to cross over trumpet with rap? And they said, well, you can do it, but no one's ever done it before.
I'll call it trap.
So really you can. It's just no one's ever done it before because maybe just they haven't tested it, or they don't think it's very good, or whatever. So you can really get any instrument you want to any instrument you want to, and mix it with whatever. And I also remember
Make a
I was-
beat and might put lyrics over it. Done.
exactly. So I remember I was in Martin Place, and there was it would have been around about 2000s, and I saw that there was this one guy, and he was playing didgeridoo in Martin Place in Sydney. But he was also there was he had a friend with him, and he was playing didgeridoo with rap with a rap beat in the back, so a hip hop beat of the rack, and it sounded amazing, absolutely
cool.
amazing. So that's an example about how you could we might actually have to start doing that in order to create original music again, which is to kind of mix the genres together to create something new.
Jamiroquai had done that at one stage with a song called Supersonic, because there was a didgeridoo playing in the background, and that pretty much that whole track with Jamiroquai's Supersonic. You should have a listen to it. If you haven't heard it yet, it's absolutely amazing. Mixes with a dance track quite amazingly.
What I think is, will there be any new genres, music styles? As I said, the last question, I think opera and classical music, I love those genres, and I think that will keep crossing over, because a lot of, if you look at, let's take it back to Elvis, where he loved opera, he loved classical music, and he used it in his music when it came to gospel music. And I think a lot of people now in this millennia are actually starting to dig it and follow it, because then kids of that era didn't want anything to do with it, didn't want any part of it. But now a lot of artists and a lot of people listen to music are crossing over, and I think that's what's going to continue to happen. Is you're going to have electric pop, electric rock, you could have opera, classical, you could even have as far as, sort of a galactic sort of, a lot of people listen to EDM, so I think that's where that will head as well, because a lot of people dig dance and trance. I think that will explode on it as well. I think that's where it's heading, to be honest.
Well, I'd just like to point out that there's a song called Mizzaloo that came out of the Pulp Fiction CD. But Mizzaloo is a song that was created in Turkey over 200 years ago in the Ottoman Empire. Okay. And that was a folk song. Okay. And it's been used by so many artists over the years. Not just one, two, or three, but it could have been used by 2,000 different artists. And there's also another song called Gloomy Monday, and that was written in World War One in Hungary. And again, that's a song that's been copied 9 times over and over again. It's been sung in French, it's been sung in Belgium, it's been sung in English. There's been an American version of it. It's even been turned into a church song, interestingly enough. So I think if anything's going to change into the fusion, if there's ever going to be an evolution, it's probably going to be with the lyrics. The lyrics will definitely change.
Also, I want to mention, since you made reference to us to 200 years, like a past and stuff like that. About 100 years ago, there was a song called Nagasaki. Okay, this is a story about Nagasaki, right? And just a few years ago, Ricky Lee Jones, I think it might have been a few years ago, might have had my years crossed, but a few years ago, Ricky Lee Jones covered that exact track, but for the different with a English beat to it. But so it's songs that are classics with different languages are getting revived in, say, modern English and stuff like that, which I think that's fascinating to listen to how the original one went and how the newer ones are going now, comparing them.
What about you?
I think that new genres and music styles are bound to pop up. I mean, people like you've all been saying, crossovers are happening every day. They've been happening for ages. They're only going to become more popular as music becomes more generic. Like, you can't just keep writing rock for 300 years and think it's going to keep slapping. Like, eventually all these things are going to have to cross over. And I do also believe that in time, new instruments will be created.
Mm.
There'll be new instruments 100%. There'll be subcultures that appear in the future mixed, you know, let's say for instance, Americans and Australians might come together and they form their own kind of little subculture. And in that subculture, a new instrument or a new style is created based around that style. I mean, that's how reggae started, around their culture. I mean, there's so many examples of that. And yeah, that's 100%. That's where I think these things are going to head to.
Can I say something about that? It's interesting you say that new instruments will be created, because there's an instrument that was specifically designed for fish trawling. Okay, so they were trying to find things like crab in the ocean, and it produced a signal to find said fish. So it
I've
was like
heard of this. I've heard of
Right.
what's this. Keep talking.
Yeah, and so they used that to find the fish, and with 100% dead accuracy, they would find it. So what they did with that exact same fish trawler was they started to use that same instrument to make up for singers that couldn't quite reach
ocean.
higher audio. Yeah, okay.
That's right. And so they would kind of mix that in the song and not tell anyone, right?
Yeah.
And so people thought, okay, well, is this part of the song, or do I have a bad copy, or is this the actual voice of the thing? I'm not really sure. So it was basically a synthetic voice, effectively. And then what happened was, Cher, basically what she did was she wrote a song with that thing to make it sound sort of like it was meant to be that way, by adding the troll thing. Sorry?
Auto-tune, is that what you're thinking?
It's like auto-tune, yeah. And so they created that, and it was thinking, you know, it goes, I believe in love after love, that song, right? And
yeah, when she says the bit where she goes, I believe, there's a weird pitch in her voice there that does not sound, it does sound a bit like the computers mess with it, but you're saying it's an instrument, so there you go.
That's an
auto-tune before the auto-tune.
Well,
and now you've got likes of what's his name, T-Pain, who uses auto-tune all the time. Even Deborah Harry, of all people, Debbie Harry from Blondie, has been known to use auto-tune in some of her songs.
Well, recently AI technology actually wrote a song using the voice of Drake and The Weeknd, and it was a banger. It slapped. Everyone thought that it came from Drake and The Weeknd. It sounded like him. The lyrics exactly like his songs, but it was written by AI.
Can I just say something? I just thought of something really weird and really random that I think could possibly, may not take off, but may take off. As everyone knows, I love, you know, sounds of dolphins and whales and the water. I just think, what if, just hear me out, what if they used sounds from orcas, whales, dolphins, the sea, and mixed it in with music?
Yeah.
And sort of created a new sort of
emotion-based music that helps produce certain emotions and help you overcome things.
Yeah, like also almost like mythical sounds, like that no artist would want to use or pick up, but it's there in the background should they need it.
I think
there is one artist, sorry Phil, there is one artist that does stuff using that type of meditation type of stuff. Her music really good. I think her name's Jean Aiko, I think, something like that along those lines. If you look her up, her music is music that you could listen to but also put you to sleep. Like, it's amazing.
But think about it, what if, and I'm not just talking about meditation, but I'm talking about actual music where it's almost like mythical, where you know, people will put aside the normal genres they've been listening to for years and years and years, and now trend on this, and this explodes into the music industry, into the market. I mean, I love Enya. I can listen to Enya all day, but think of that as Enya, but sort of mythical, different. You feel ethereal.
Yeah, exactly. That's the type of vibe that this lady puts out. JHENEAIKO. But yeah, definitely. That's a really great idea.
From Los Angeles, California, born 1988, age 35. She's specifically in R&B. Her genre is mainly R&B, apparently. So I gotta
Okay.
listen to some of her music so I can understand what's going on. I love
Yeah.
the Enya reference because I always love that. And also, here's one for you: the band Enigma.
Yes.
They would put a dance track, but it was more like a chant. But they turned
Yes.
that into a dance track, so it was a crossover between chant and dance. Listen
Yeah.
to a song called "Sadness," which is, I think, done around 1990.
I used to listen to Enigma.
What I was going to say before was there was actually a film about an Australian artist, not a real one. It was a fictional artist, and what he was doing was he went to find different sounds for which he could put in his music. And one of the greatest things that he did would he go under train tracks, he'd go under go to the forest. But one of the things that what he'd do is he would basically um go and listen to insects with his microphone for which he would record, and then turn that into a song and
That's
then
amazing.
make that into a track. And they made an entire movie out of that.
That's cool. You know what people are doing now? They're getting those little machines that you can put onto like a leaf or anything that's kind of like got a, a organism, a live type of thing, and you can actually hear the sounds that like the trees make. It produces the sound wave that it produces, which is really cool. Maybe even that could be a genre one day. I mean,
Well, it's interesting that Kat mentioned whales and things like that, and orcas, is the fact that whales already have
sonar.
that they already have sonar, so they already have a natural sonar, so they talk to each other with music waves, sound waves. So they already kind of sing to each other anyway, so it really wouldn't be that hard to put that into a track and then play that to an audience with a rhythm, with a beat and everything like that, because it's a sound like anything else. So I think if someone actually did that, well, there's your brand new genre ready to go.
Now, we touched on this about a moment ago, but I want to bring it up. Let's see what you all think. Will they be able to replicate dead artists using AI technology into the future or in the future?
Yes, it's well, they can do that now, and even if they didn't, we listened to look. Elvis has been dead for ages now. I know you're going to have an argument saying, no, he's still alive. He's just under a different name.
No, 100%. If they were able to put out a hologram of Elvis, a real life, or even a robot of him, they would make millions of dollars off of that. Honestly, people would flock to see it.
Yeah, and they did it with Freddie Mercury already.
Yeah.
And it was so real that Brian May actually cried at his own concert. So they're able to do that now, and I think it's something that we're going to see in the future.
It's only 100%. It's only going to advance. Like, there's no way that a part of technology is they're not going to. Like, why would you not make a robot that looks like Elvis when you pay them nothing over paying someone $1 million? Every set or every song that they do for you, every concert, you don't want to pay them that money. Eventually, if the robot's available, I'm going to take the robot. I don't have to pay the robot anything.
The other thing is, like, if you've got a hologram that looks exactly like Freddie Mercury, right? And it's not a fake, and it's not it's not like a lookalike. Why wouldn't you not pay for that? Because one, it's already pre-recorded, so you've seen it on television anyway. But the other thing is, when you're in a room with all sorts of speakers and other things like that, it's going to feel real, like you're actually there. And your mind and your eyes and all of your senses won't know the difference. Okay, they won't know the difference because you can synthesize reality.
100%. That will be the next step, a hologram. Then the step after that will be 100% making a robot with the silicone skin that looks exactly like them, can do all the same vocal ranges, same voice. They can produce sounds using AI now based on someone's voice. So all they need is a few bytes from your actual voice, and they can produce a whole alphabet from that.
What do you think, Leon?
You're definitely right about that. There are some holograms out now, which obviously we know about. Obviously, Tupac being one of the main. Well, I'm thinking of Tupac straight away because they did make a hologram out of him. Also, ABBA as well. Even though they're still alive, they made this avatar project, which is basically them how they were in their peak in the mid-70s, in the mid to late 70s. So it has been done. I would not be surprised if we start seeing, a lot more of these. Mind you, you're gonna have to have a huge budget, and you know that you're gonna get your money back, or if you attempt something like this. So, I would like to see maybe an Elvis hologram or something like that. I don't know about a robot I don't know about a robotic holographic Elvis, because if you have a robotic holographic Elvis, as soon as you
Well,
start
not
doing the
holographic. The robot will literally have silicon made to look like skin. It will be a robot, but it will look exactly like him. It's like a wax figure, but it's a robotics underneath.
Yeah, but I was
Go on.
thinking, right, if he starts doing that pelvic bloody twist and stuff like that, it might break a computer
bolt.
computer part or something.
And then the heads, in Austin Powers when he tricks them and their area starts shooting and then their heads start twitching.
There you go.
Can I just add to that? I kind of have to agree, because if, as Luna said, if they use silicone on the robot and they look like human in silicone as a robot, I think it'll look really, really cool. Take, for example, the movie Bicentennial Man, where Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, was the robot, and they turned him into a human where he could feel everything. I mean, how peculiar or interesting would that be, turning a robot into a human, where the sound, the pitch, the noise, the hand, everything from us evolves into them, and the music. It's going to be scary, I think.
I can imagine, after 3,000 years of having robots, I can picture there being some sort of mad scientist / doctor that wants to create a human robot hybrid, and they would try to evolve that. They would have the smarts to at least try.
Can I say something about that? One of the things that makes music, apart from the actual sound and songs that you're making, is the actual heart. So when you sing something that you're really sad about,
the emotional gravity of it, I understand.
So when I sing something when I'm really, really sad, I actually sing better. And everyone in the room also feels my sadness as well, which is actually quite funny in a way. But when I sing happy, they'll still identify that as a really happy song, but they won't feel it as much, if that makes any sense. So if you build a robot, it'll work. Okay, it'll work as long as it doesn't melt.
Well, of course, 1,000 years of them perfecting the robot, eventually it's going to be perfect. But it will take a lot of practice to get it to there.
But will they feel the emotion? Because
they
otherwise it's just
they will have a program that shows emotion through movements and facial expressions, but that will be the extent of it. They won't actually feel it. It's a robot. It's a program running. You just have to remember that it's a program running that's been written.
Right.
And if the Simpsons has taught us anything, robots won't work, because if the Simpsons have told us anything, every time a robot cries, it melts. So if anything, let's say
if the Simpsons has taught us anything, Homer gets to work with the robots somehow and wants them to come drink beer with him. And
actually, I saw something very interesting on YouTube. It was like a 5-10 minute clip of a journalist interviewing an actual robot.
Yes, I saw that the other night on the news as well.
And I was thinking about that and going, oh wow, she can change accents. And she said, yes, I can feel emotion.
Exactly.
And he asked her, do you want to destroy humanity? She goes, no, why do I want to do that? I want us to coexist. I want us to live together in harmony. And she could actually smile, and when she was blinking, and her face looked like a human.
Yeah.
Now imagine that.
They're actually on their 4th generation of that. She's got a name. It's not Alexa. There's a name for that robot, that company that's producing that. And they're actually on their 4th generation robot now. So from their prototype 1, they're already at prototype 4. And the robot is so complex. It uses AI conversations. When you can go on and talk to those AI robots and, hi, how are you? And it responds. It uses stuff like that. But then it also uses localizing to understand the situation and make it into a more understandable dialogue so that it can make sense to somebody. It is amazing. Truly.
I did see something right of a computer. Sorry, it was a robot. It was a female robot with no arms and no legs. And it was an intellectual robot, and it could sing songs and write poems. That's one of the things that it could do. It could actually write
Yep.
poems, which means it's got the ability to be creative. But then the person said, the interviewer said, "Can you show me emotions?" And she said, "Yes, I can." And I said, "What emotion would you like me to show?" And said, "Well, how about you show me laughter?" And she showed laughter. I said, "Well, how about you show me anger?" And I said, "Okay." And all she literally had to do was move her nostrils
Yeah.
to demonstrate anger. And she said,
Exactly, though. They have technology now that can localize somebody's face and detect the slight movements in their face to show what emotion they're showing. There's even filters on TikTok that do that. I mean, it's very easy to mimic something when it's been written into your code. I'll say that.
What do you think, Leon?
About fourth generation robots. That kind of stuff kind of scary at the moment, obviously, because as eventually they'll be able to think for themselves instead of what's been programmed. If you program it with too much AI, it'll eventually outgrow its programming and be able to think for itself.
Yes,
That's
but
what's
the thinking
scary.
for itself will be logic-based thinking and not emotional-based thinking. It
That's
cannot
my
feel
point.
emotions, it can only understand them.
Yeah, but you see, not having emotions is like giving a psychopath an MK47.
Yes, no, but a psychopath doesn't have logical or moral thinking. A robot will. A robot wants to find a solution. It doesn't want to create a problem, if that makes sense. An evil robot would want to create a problem. But a computer-based program, it's so forward thinking that even if it advances, it's always adding to its code. It's never taking away. It's never adding things like a virus to its code. It wouldn't want to do that by purposely, I would say. On accident, it might, but it only wants to add things to make its knowledge more expansive and more logical. You know, you click on the home button, it takes you home. There's a program written in there that it knows to do that 100% every time. Do you get what I'm saying?
I would recite that joke that Lisa saw on comic book guy show when she went to Mensa, but I won't say because I'll probably get copyrighted.
Go on, say it. Why not?
I'll probably get copyrighted.
No, you won't. Go on.
Someone switched this doll to evil.
See DOS, run DOS, run.
I love that shirt. I want to get that shirt.
Now here's the last question. I'm gonna ask this question. If you could be a future music artist, what would your name be, and what new element would you bring to music, Leon?
I know what I would. I know it's already out already, but I love mashing up stuff, mashing up music. Say lyrics from one song and a beat from the other song, and bringing it together and come up with some sort of super crossover song. I know it's been done already, but that's what I would love to do.
Can you tell me what the question was again? I didn't quite hear that.
If you could be a future music artist, what would your name be, and what new element would you bring to music?
Oh, that's easy. I'd be DJ Buckets. Or
Spinning vinyl records with
and
a
all
bucket
of
on
his
your head.
beats, all of the beats will be made on the bucket. He won't use any other
That's right.
instruments except the bucket.
That's right. A bucket's its own instrument. It's its own drum. And then when I'm done with my music, I just turn the bucket around so people can put cash in it. Problem solved.
What about
That's
you,
great.
Lou?
Instant gratification.
All right, guys. I've had a long time to think about this. My name would be Luna Vibes. I would 100%. This is like in the distant future, though, okay? I'm not thinking in the next 50 years, whatever. This distant future. I'm an alien human hybrid. My name is Luna Vibes, and my music contains literally like when you feel it, you know, if you think about the stars, you see the stars around you. When it brings visions to you.
I like that. I like that. I think my name as it sticks now is Angel Rose, aka Her Royal Highness. And my music,
And then she's she's the rappest artist on the street. No.
probably no. I would probably mix
On the throne. No, she's the dopest artist on the throne. Get it right.
Oh.
I think I would mix every.
Go on.
I would mix every genre known to man, and I would somehow make it work.
Call it the super genre.
The super genre. There we go. Angel Rose, Her Royal Highness.
Ooh.
Out now. We would have an electric pop, dance, hip hop, rap, R&B, pop, classical, operatic.
That's nice.
I'd even chocolate rappers to make it sound really, really mimey.
Guys, let us know in the comments what your rock star name would be, or what your artist name would be, and what element you would bring to music.
And what do you think of our podcast and the questions we brought to the table? Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and to like and let us know what you think. And we are on Facebook as well. And don't forget, follow us for more content. Let us know what you like. Until then, good night. Peace out. I'm Bucket, Leon, and Luna. And we will see you next week. Wherever you are, whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, or the world, have a fabuloso day.
Bye.
Bye.